Andor keeps us surprised. After last week's Rebel Heist episode, I was expecting some plot filler this week. However, instead we got even more Empire goodness as the ISB prepared to react to what has taken place. Spoiler warning, this is our review for Andor Episode 7, Announcement. Greetings my young Padawans, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Star Wars Now. So, Andor Episode 7, titled Announcement. It was a rather cool one. Showrunner Tony Gilroy also felt that this episode would sort of break away from the normal story arc of the previous 6 episodes. Episode 7 is written by Stephen Schiff and directed by Benjamin Caron. Now, if you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Wars videos, including lore, news and more, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe button to never miss a video from myself and the team here at Star Wars Now. We just passed 1,400 subscribers. It's a slow burn, but we're loving delivering you the quality Star Wars news you expect. But as always, if you're talking about Star Wars, then we want to hear about it. So get typing a comment in the comment section below. So jumping straight into this episode, it opens immediately with the Imperial Security Bureau meeting. Now while the meeting is very important and the words mentioned are key to the upcoming events, not just in the episode, but the entire Star Wars universe, there's another detail. The man who is briefing the meeting seems familiar to some. We can see that he is above Anton Lesser's Major Partagaz. Partagaz, however you want to pronounce his name. The character giving the speech to the ISB group is Colonel Yularen. Fans may remember this as Admiral Walt Yularen, who was assigned to Jedi General Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars, personally commanding Skywalker's flagship, the Resolute, up until that was destroyed. Yularen would return to his security roots at the war's end, due to his close working relationship with Sheev Palpatine. Actor Malcolm Sinclair brings Yularen to live action and does a fantastic job capturing his mannerisms and way of speaking. You know, for some time, we theorized he would appear in the series. It's fantastic that Andor is making use of connective material as it enhances the world the series takes place in. This appearance of Yularen will link to his canonical appearance in the animated series of Star Wars Rebels. He assists Grand Admiral Thrawn in locating a rebel spy within Imperial ranks. While it's totally cool to have Yularen, what his speech about is rather threatening. He's reminding his officers that the ISB will not tolerate rebel activity within the Empire's reach, or outside of it. So he mentions the use of local custom, festival, or tradition as a cover for rebel activity. This of course refers to the Aldhani incident when the Eye ceremony was technically used as the cover for the Rebel Heist in the previous episode. It's almost like the Empire uses the rebel victory to strike down citizens around the galaxy. Again. You know, it's almost like the rebels gave the Empire the perfect justification to put down anything that stands in their way. Yularen also mentions Palpatine. We know they had a close relationship and a long history together. The key bit of information here is Yularen's mention of the ISB getting more resources, such as freeing their hands on all matters of surveillance, search, and seizure. Yularen's public order resensing directive is something that relates to the end of the episode, when it comes to biting Cassian Andor. We'll explore more of that later on in the video. The relationship between Luthen Rael and Mon Mothma is tested in the episode. It expands and reveals what we've known from previous episodes. It does appear that Luthen has betrayed Mon Mothma's trust, though Luthen's strategy will ultimately work, due to one of Mon Mothma's character flaws is that she's not willing to risk lives to start a rebellion revolution. Another rebel, Saw Gerrera, also had conflict with Mon and her approach when trying to start the rebellion. We do see elements of this in Rogue One, especially when Admiral Raddus decides to take his fleet and fight against Mon Mothma's wishes and the Rebel High Command Council. Interestingly, Luthen took this approach, but it makes sense. Time is an ally of a rebellion, and it's something they currently do not have. With the Empire moving ever so fast around the galaxy, they kind of need to make a move sometime soon. Luthen has ensured they can do just that. But on the flip side, we do actually see Mon's plans actually somewhat working. A meeting with a longtime friend, a banker, has yielded some interesting results in obtaining funds for rebel activities. You know, Mon's line of, if everyone thinks I'm an irritation, then miss what I'm really doing, is super cool. Also, she reveals that her husband, Perrin, cannot be trusted. And again, he does win Asshole of the Year award, so no surprise there. Perhaps this comment also might confirm how Perrin might depart Mon Mothma's life sometime in the future. During the conversation between Mon and her close friend, I've got to commend Nicholas Britell, the composer of Andor. The series soundtrack is fantastic in this episode, especially during a conversation with Mon. It does amplify what is taking place in the episode and on screen. The Star Destroyer's arrival above Cintra and on Aldhani has got to be one of the show's best shots. Just the theatre this warship alone commands into the individual citizens below is simply fantastic. Luckily for Cintra, it does appear she's on the escape right now, but her departure from the planet is likely going to be stopped by the Empire. Will she manage to get off the planet, And will she learn what she did to the prisoners? I hope so. This is a topic debated among the fans right now. Therefore, I'm interested in your thoughts on what she did to the prisoners. Did she kill them, or did she save them? The line dropped in this episode reveals the Empire's already arrested over 100 Aldani citizens in response to the Rebel Heist. Of course, we know none of the civilians had anything to do with the events. It's just inserted into the episode to show the Empire does not really care and will show force to the civilians to get their message of authority and order across. While Aldani Central may be a lost cause, Val did escape to Coruscant. We see Luthen's assistant, Kalaya Markey, meeting up with her on the planet. We also do see stormtroopers, so everyone can finally stop complaining about them now. You know, I liked how blunt she was towards the deaths of Nemik, Gorn and Tamarin, though she does enforce her hard-ass approach when Val asks about Sintra. Kalaya has tasked Val with hunting down Cassian Andor due to his connection with Luthen Rail. The irony here is that Cassian wants Luthen to know that he held up part of his deal and therefore is done, while Luthen's faction wants to get rid of Cassian for security, as they don't want anything leaking out. I imagine this will be the next part of arc of the story for the episodes. If I had to predict something, and of course I do, it would be that Val breaking Cassian out of a new Imperial prison, therefore needing to choose whether to end his life or not. So yeah, that's probably what's coming up next week. Marva's rebellion is an interesting moment in this episode. We see her finally revealing that she's ready to stand against the Empire, especially due to the fact her husband was murdered at the hands of Republic clone troopers 13 years before the events of the series. Can we take a moment to appreciate more live-action Phase 2 clone troopers in Star Wars? They look fantastic, and I wish we got more of them. Though we've been treated rather well this one and the Kenobi series with the 501st, so we'll take it and rather than leave it. Cassian wants Marva to come with him, but she's staying in her home and plans to defy the Empire any way she can. I imagine this will come to fruition when RSB agent Dedra Meero visits Ferrix later in the series. Based on the trailers, we know she'll command Death Troopers and Stormtroopers during her visit. But speaking of Meero, she finally got what she wanted, the Milani sector, thanks to a standoff with Agent Blevin in front of Major Partagaz, which he warned her to watch her back about. Back to Marva. A line she delivers perfectly is about putting on the best coat and walking through the town square following the news that someone had dealt a crippling blow to the Galactic Empire. Previously, she couldn't walk there due to her remembering how her husband Clem was hung up by Republic troops, which is dark for clone troopers in the Republic, might I say, unless it was in the days where the Empire was just coming about, which would be 13 years. No, it would be Republic troops. Damn, that's dark, it's freaky. You know, a detail in this episode which still confuses me is Marva mentioning that Cassian's sister is a lost cause to him. Now I personally think this is a red herring. She mentions to him, telling him to basically move on from a lost cause, and there are no survivors on Kenari. What is even more interesting, and may hint towards events yet to happen as Cassian leaves, Marva picks up a blaster rifle, likely indicating to us, the viewers, she will fight the Empire or at least stand up to them. Cassian ends up on the wrong side of the law, simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time in this episode. Well, he's acting a little shifty, and no wonder, especially seeing people being chased by shore troopers. This stormtrooper design appeared in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, where we were seen guarding the beaches on Scarif around the Imperial base. Two details. One, we see the follow-up from Colonel Yularen's new ISB directives regarding prison time. This follow-up of a public order resentencing directive, which, as we see the courtroom judge saying, the former time was 6 months for Cassian's altercation, but it's now 6 years. The Empire is cracking down on every planet and enforcing tougher restrictions on civilians for anti-Empire talk and activities. The other detail is K2SO. This isn't actually the K2SO we know, it's a regular KX series security droid, employed by the Galactic Empire. However, it is possible it could be a droid that would later become K2. It's likely not, as we're not sure when Alan Tudyk will appear in the series as K2. Given already some expect him to arrive from the get-go, however, that's obviously not the case anymore. Maybe it won't be until Season 2. However, I expect we'll know how Cassian came into contact with K2, given he's also a key character in Rogue One, so we've got that to look forward to. Of course I mentioned Cyril Khan. We see him take on this new job, which appears to be data entry on Coruscant, thanks to his uncle. Now it's clear he's not kinda happy with this, and especially with his get-go dreams of doing more things down the line. Likely to see him soon move towards the ISB and what he can do from there, given his keen interest in the news report about rebel activity. I think this is the next logical step for his character, but it's good we're still getting character development for him. Overall, the episode was fantastic. The only thing dragging down parts of the episode for me might be Cyril Khan's storyline. However, character development is needed for him, and I guess it just fits into this episode naturally. We couldn't just leave him out near Ferrix and then pick him up sometime later in the season. It looks like Khan will be returning for Andor's second season, especially with the actor now being prepping for season 2. Therefore, development in the first season is probably highly needed right now. Having Andor expand the world of a galactic empire is something the series is doing rather well. While the rebels had a victory in the money heist, ultimately it cost the galaxy more freedom. Mon Mothma is correct, but Luthen has no idea what sort of fire he has started. I'm enjoying their relationship being fleshed out even more, but I would like to learn how they met in the first place. Personally, I think the ending of the episode is a political message. It feels, unfortunately, very real of current events around the world in the past couple of years. Cassian gets arrested because someone is rather bored and has power. This costs him his freedom, all for doing nothing wrong. If you're a normal citizen, it might ruin his life. Tony Gilroy and his creative staff appear to be making that statement here, intended or not. Ultimately, this episode has me looking forward to what is coming down the pipeline next. Seeing the whole cast in this episode worked really well, and I can't wait to see Luthen's next move and more of the Imperial crackdown. For a series that's focused on one character, it's very much interesting in expanding the world around it. Okay, Exalted Ones, that's it myself. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video on here on Star Wars Now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news, lore, and more. You can also follow us on social media as well, but make sure to let us know what you think in the video comment section below, because if you're talking Star Wars, we want to hear about it. Okay, I've been Captain Jack, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you. Goodbye.